Let's start with you, Joshua. Good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
Nice, nice. Oh boy, that voice of yours, man. God has blessed you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I don't have much, so he gave me what works.
You don't have much what?
I don't have much of life's trappings, but he gave me what works for me.
I thought you were referring to something else, but that's okay.
Oh,
Okay, okay. Joshua, let's start where I ended. The pushback of the opposition, and not only the opposition, but civil society groups in the society, is not any defense of democracy, Joshua. Don't you agree that it's a defense of the dwindling path of the opposition? Because Nara has stole the thunder. Nara has positioned the government for electoral success. Am I not correct?
you are correct, sir. But first of all, please accept a good evening to yourself, your
Yes.
panelists, and all your listeners wherever they are. Nara stole the thunder because I think the PNP is looking for a thunder as opposed to looking for what's best for Jamaica. The PNP having lost the September, the September 3rd election, is looking for a win at any cost, as opposed to looking for a win for Jamaica. They're looking for a win for themselves.
Yes.
And so, with Nara coming on stream, they see that win fast dwindling. And so, what they're trying to do is to step into the room to create disruption, to take away from what Nara positions this country to achieve, and that is a very quick recovery without the trappings of some of the red tapes that would normally exist within procurement and other procurement related issues. And with that, the PNP sees it as something that is going to affect their next chances at the polls, as opposed to something that is going to get Jamaica on its feet quickly. And that for them is an upset, and that is why they are pushing back at it the way they are. I listened to Delano Seavright this evening, and he spoke about the myriad of countries that faced some form of disasters, and not just only looking at them, but he looked at the results. And because of bureaucracy, red tape, bureaucracy, how most of them failed to get things going quickly.
Yes.
And the different gaps that exist as a result. I sent the same tape to you, and it would be a very insightful listen, right? And I when I listened to his research that he did, and look at what Nara hopes to achieve. Nara hopes to learn from the mistakes of the predecessors in this era in terms of disaster and disaster management and post-disaster rebuilding, and to better to equip themselves to better handle what we have to do going forward. And so the PNP doesn't want that, really. What the PNP is more interested in is the seat of power. And so, yes, it has stolen their thunder.
Okay, how do you explain though the civils, the other opposition in the society? Are these aligned to the opposition? Is this a concert of voices that have agreed that because everything is tied together?
Well, that question is best answered by what a former minister of tourism under the People's National Party stated in a presentation that she gave some years ago.
Yes.
She said we have formed some civil group, and they are not civil group, but we have packed them with PNP because we have an agenda, right? And so that gives a clear indication as to what the civic group represents. they represent as you rightly stated, a concert of voices on behalf of the PNP and not on behalf of Jamaica. And how do we know this? Because whenever anything goes awry, that points a finger to the PNP elements that exist from the said group. But if the Jamaica Labour Party sneezes, even if no one catches a cold, then all of them come out loudly singing, some tenor, some bass, but all of them are singing together, to form one chord that really is a discord. So yes, there are,
Yeah.
A concert of voices.
Okay. Protecting Jamaica, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, neighbor. Good evening, Joshua. Listeners.
Good evening, sir.
Protecting Jamaica, the Gleaner today, yesterday, Edmund Campbell said that the NARA bill was shredded. In other words, it don't work the paper it right. It was written on. What that is strong language coming out of the Gleaner protecting Jamaica. In light of the substance of the bill, in light of what we are learning, the possible strategy of the People's National Party, what do you think the Gleaner's position on this bill is really saying at this time?
Let me respond to you this way, neighbor. Again, good night to the listeners who have joined us. Let me respond to you this way concerning the Gleaner. 2 years ago, when I launched my campaign against the Gleaner.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yes. It was an unsubscribe campaign. Within weeks, I had people comment in the comments on YouTube while I was having those lives. And every day, every week, I turn on the live. I had more than 10 people commenting, new people, that they have unsubscribed. Within months, the Gleaner reported that they lost about 250 million from their online subscriptions. Sooner than later, other bloggers took it up, and it was now a widespread campaign. Ditch the Gleaner, unsubscribe. Now, we have seen in recent months, leading up to the election, the Gleaner went all out against the government. There was no ifing and butting anymore as to where the Gleaner stood and who the Gleaner was supporting. They went all out in support of Mark Golding. A few months ago, we saw the report where the Gleaner was now contracting its printing of the papers, the physical papers, to the Observer. Then about a month later, the report was that they moved from the North Street building. So everything is now compacted at Lyndhurst Road. And then we heard about a month ago that they have closed down about 3 or 4 radio stations.
2.
Okay, 2. 2 already. Okay, there are more to come. Now, the question I will ask, which is the last part of my response, is since the Gleaner RGR group, which includes TVJ, went out on a limb to support Mark Golding, will Mark Golding use his considerable resources that he came to us and beat up his chest, that him rich long time? Will he now use his resources to save the Gleaner? And that is my response to your neighbor. Next question.
Oh, you leaving it right there, sir?
Right, that's a neighbor. Me not have nothing much and nothing good to say about the Gleaner. So Edmund can write all he want, him can save the Gleaner, and he's going to be looking at jobs somewhere soon. And I hope that a certain gentleman who is lining up to buy that conglomerate in a few months' time, I hope when them buy it, they fire all of them backside. Again, next question, neighbor.
Okay. I want you to comment on some things that I said earlier, that the People's National Party seem to have failed to accept the electoral reality of September 3rd. What would be your comment on that in terms of an acceptance and an admitting of this reality as a means of transitioning from campaigning to opposition?
We're in a new dispensation of Jamaican politics, neighbor. We're in an era with a kind of politics that the PNP doesn't understand. I have first-hand experience, neighbor, of how the PNP used to run and have won elections. And this kind of results-based politics, this kind of production type politics, where for the first time in our nation's history, for the past 10 years, we have politicians that are actually showing what they were voting in for. They're doing the job. The PNP really cannot survive in this kind of atmosphere. And so, what we're seeing from the PNP, neighbor, is just an highlight of how they have been all their existence. All their existence have been about manipulating the populace. Now, the manipulation stopped working since 2002. And that's when PJ realized that, you know what, I need to plan my exit. And by 2006, leading up to the next election, PJ was gone because he knew that if he had gone to the poll again, he would have been defeated, and he did not want that. So the People's National Party really don't know how to behave any better, neighbor. They don't. And there are many people who expect a lot from the PNP without understanding the very existence of the PNP was not established on any sensible foundation or footing. And so what we're seeing today of the People's National Party is sort of an unraveling. It's sort of a decapitation of the party itself by itself. And it's like you have somebody sitting down pulling out his or her own hair, neighbor, because they are confused. Their mind is all twisted. They don't know what to do. And you're right. As I listened to you earlier, the fourth term, the PNP won't be able to survive 28 seats.
Yes.
The writings are on the wall. NARA is going to see to the death of the PNP. And I urge the government, may I talk to them from now, when you get to 2029, 2030, and you win the fourth term with another super majority, make sure that you drive constitutional reform through the parliament. Nobody sweet up and pretty up. And talk about you draw no chair for put Mark Gold in for sit down. Him no use to them kind of something there. Him no use to them something there. Ag used to ag pen and walla in a mud. That's how you treat ag. And that man has been behaving like a pig since him come from the political space. And with his addition to the party, now leading the party, and the party having no foundation in any sensible politics, we are yet to see the full unraveling of the People's National Party. They're not going to survive, neighbor. By the time NARA roll out and the almost $2 trillion start spend, the PNP will be null and void in the Jamaican landscape. It will be all about what the government is doing. Remember now, we're a neighbor. The PNP is like a drowning man or a person who is swimming and they are tired, so they keep resting by diving and coming up for air every now and again. They come up for some air. And this is what is happening to the PNP. They are becoming irrelevant. And every now and again, you see them either have a press conference or some foolishness them jump out with just to remain in the public discussion. And sooner than later, when them start dagger them one another over there, we are going to see them having this. We have to put them on aspies. Put them in at the departure lounge and wait for them to go, because they're not going to survive this term. This term is a very powerful term, and this term is going to bring forth some results that they are not going to be able to withstand.
Okay, thank you so much.